Hey y'all, welcome back to episode 13 of Zesty Thoughts with your host Annábla. Thank you for joining. I hope you all had a wonderful week so far. I've had a chill week. I had a birthday party this weekend. I got lunch with a friend that I hadn't seen in a while. So I have just been overjoyed. My cup is full. I have a busy week ahead, but I'm excited for it. For today's episode, I wanted to just change things up a little bit and talk about some of my musical tastes, like growing up, some artists that were like formative for me, or artists that I listened to a lot and enjoyed in my formative years, I guess, as a musician and an artist, and then talk about some top songs I've been listening to like on repeat recently, some of my favorite playlists that I listen to and go to all the time on a daily basis, and talk about some kind of stuff that will give a little backstory into who I am as an artist and my taste in music and where I'm coming from and where I'm going. So I'm just gonna dive right in. I first wanted to go through I'm going to attempt to make a timeline of like artists in formative years from like when I was young to now. Things will probably be out of order because I didn't really map it out completely, but I'm going to try my best. So I'm going to start all the way to when I was a little tot, when I was a baby. Both of my parents are super into really all kinds of music, but they gravitated a lot towards like classic rock and some like R&B and soul as well. But lots of classic rock, lots of fun kind of psychedelic rock stuff. Cause that's the era they grew up in. They both were born in the 60s, and so that's what I remember, I guess not as a baby, but I remember like pretty early on hearing a lot of music like that on the radio, listening to like K-Rock, K-Earth 101, stuff like that. And, all those popular songs that are on rotation, I just pretty early on learned all of them. I was super into it. But I guess if I could rewind a little bit to actually when I was a baby, my parents would play tapes for me. And they had a few tapes, like some classical music. Selena's, I forget the name of the album, but her famous album with like Dreaming of You on it. That on cassette, and then just other classic rock and like other cassettes that they had. They have a lot, and they still to this day have amassed a massive cassette, CD, and vinyl collection. It's like insane. A lot of it is still in pretty good shape. That's actually a goal I have, is to like go through all of it, categorize it by like, alphabetical or genre or whatever, and then also like keep note of which records have scratches and are, which ones are in mint condition, which ones like are kind of more fragile. Cause I'm going to inherit them one day too. So yeah, pretty cool. But anyway, so grew up listening to kind of a mix of everything. Oh, there's like little kitty hair. Grew up listening to a mix of literally everything. Which was really cool. I think that has like helped me in a lot of ways to form a really diverse taste in music. But yeah, I think in a lot of ways it was super beneficial to me. So I am forever grateful for that. I just got lucky, that my parents were constantly playing music in the car. It's like there was silence, but there was never silence to the extent that like if there was an opportunity to have music on, music was on. So I was always learning and hearing new music and learning about people. And my parents are just frequent like concert goers. They're just music lovers in general. And my dad plays guitar. So like he would teach me about, musicians that he looked up to and was a fan of. But yeah, my parents put me on to a lot of music at a really young age. And I kind of find it interesting looking at, my childhood and what I was, educated on, the music that I was educated on from such a young age. And then I contrast it to the students that I have now. And it may just be like cultural differences, but like, I feel like a lot of students that I have now just like don't don't even listen to music. I mean, maybe the young ones, you get to a certain age and then that's like more a part of your like, things you do for fun or whatever, part of your like artistic consumption. But in general, I find that like I ask students or parents like, oh, how do you listen to music? Like, what music do you listen to? What's your favorite kind of music? Do you have any favorite bands, artists, composers, whatever? And a lot of the times they just don't have an answer. And then I kind of look at the parent like, oh, because maybe the kid's just shy and they don't know what to say, or they don't know how to answer it. So I look to the parent for like, okay, you can answer, like, who do they like? And sometimes the parents are like, and it's like, dude, you're taking music lessons. You gotta dive in. You gotta know what you like. But so I'm very grateful that at least my parents were just organically, it's not like they were even doing it on purpose. They were just organically music lovers. So I grew up around a lot of music, even though no one in my family like pursued it professionally or anything. I got lucky in that way. So that was really cool. So I don't know. I listened to, when I was young, a lot of those radio stations would play a lot of classic rock. So Led Zeppelin was like instantly something that I gravitated towards. And my parents specifically were also fans of them. So they had like a whole box set of all the CDs. So when I was little in the car, we would rotate through those CDs and listen to every album. And kind of the same with the Beatles, specifically the White Album. That was one that I had like really good memories around listening to all the time, because it's just so weird, like as a kid, number 9, like you're like, what is happening? You're just like, you're experiencing something so unique and like artistic, and you're like, what is this? And I was such a ham. I loved Honey Pie too. But yeah, those were two artists that were very like influential for me as far as like discovery of new music and new types of music and songwriting and kind of the creative aspect of like music can be anything you want. So that was always I think intriguing to me as a little kid. Like I was like, whoa, this is like crazy. I guess as I got older, I just kind of naturally gravitated toward, other artists on my own. I remember when I was probably in like middle school, that was when I got my first like iPod. And so then that was like the floodgates, I was like getting as much music as I could, and listening to a lot of, I was also always listening to like Michael Jackson and people like Stevie Wonder and Mariah Carey. Like when the Emancipation of Mimi album came out, bought that album. Insane, iconic. That was like ingrained in my brain. I was just in love with that album. And Whitney Houston just as one of the greats, And then, I don't know, I just started, buying more music and consuming more music. And, I grew up doing musical theater. So a lot of musical theater, classic stuff too. Which is always so fun. Just that storytelling aspect of songwriting was so strong, obviously, in musical theater content. So I feel like that I soaked up a lot too. And yeah, as I got into middle school in 7th grade, I started studying at an arts school from 7th grade until I graduated from high school. And then it was just like, dude, game over. Like I had all these, gigs that I would do. You meet other people that are musicians that are into music, and then you're just sharing music. And so that was like really where I was able to be exposed to maybe music that I just wasn't organically exposed to when I was little. But like even prior to that, like when John Mayer's Battle Studies came out, it was like, oh my gosh, like John Mayer, and then it was like a deep dive on all of his previous projects, all of his albums, because I knew his hits, but prior to that, I didn't really know deep cuts. And that was a game changer for me, for sure. Because I think around that time was when I was getting a little bit more into just playing guitar in general. And then his songwriting is just brilliant, So that really struck me in a way. And then Prince is someone that I've been kind of a fan of too. I would say I usually look at this the Prince and Michael Jackson debate, and it's like comparing apples to oranges. I think it's such a silly like way to even, it's silly to pit them against each other. But Michael Jackson, I think, was someone that was a little bit more of like a formative inspiration, because I used to dance, and I still dance, but I used to dance actively and like frequently. I would take classes and I did competitive dance and stuff like that. So I looked up to Michael in that way as a dancer too, and then Prince, I think I didn't really get into Prince as much until later, kind of until I was, getting more into guitar, because he's so badass. And I have such an appreciation for like his early music, and it's just so fun. But yeah, those are all people that I would say like probably in like middle school. Alicia Keys was a big one for me. I was so into her, like Brandy as well, Beyonce, Bruno Mars, all in middle school. Ariana Grande, when she got really popular, those were kind of people in middle school that I was just like deep diving into, obsessed with, learning every word of like all their songs, and they're all brilliant artists. Like, I guess that was kind of like my pop era, being into, really consuming a lot of pop music and finding joy in that. So I would say that was like my middle school era. I got a little bit more into like Motown and soul music and R&B in high school. I used to perform with this group from my high school at California Adventure, and we performed a few different set lists, all of which were just like singular artist set lists. So one was all Stevie Wonder, one set was all James Brown, and one set was all like Brian Setzer Orchestra. But the Stevie Wonder and the James Brown, and then as well as Earth, Wind, and Fire. So that was like, I feel like those few years when I was playing those, performing those songs was a very like, I got more into that era of music and like Motown and Temptations, like, that's when I started to get into Ray Charles. But now I'm in like my Ray Charles era right now. I'm like super into that like old school kind of style, that genre of like R&B. And I love it so much. Like soul music, it's so, I don't know, I connect to it in a lot of ways, and I just think it's so like pure. And I mean, you could probably debate a little bit about some of the content of some of Ray Charles's songs. There are some not so PC concepts that probably wouldn't fly today, but aside from the lyrics, like I just love the music, so fun, and the melodies are just beautiful and classic, man. They're classics for sure. Let's see who else I have written on here. Oh, yeah. High school, I would say, got way more into Erykah Badu. Went even further into my deep dive on Michael Jackson and like all of his deep cuts, and watching documentaries and interviews and stuff like that, as well as a little bit more into Mariah Carey at that time too, and Whitney Houston. Tori Kelly, oh my gosh. I mean, she can sing, and her songs were they hit like a middle school, high school aged girl. Like that just hit so hard, dude. They're like love songs, and you're like, you have crushes. And that was just such an amazing era for like pop singer-songwriter. Music. I loved it. Daughter. When I was in my feels, I was super into Daughter. And yeah, that's the list that I wrote out. I'm sure that there are more there, but I'm going to dive in now to like one playlist that I have, or I'll go into a few playlists, but one playlist, and I'll link them all in the description. One playlist I have specifically is my Goosebumps playlist. And these are songs that just like, that give you like the tingles and they make you feel some type of way. And they're just like, they're kind of also songs that like, as a songwriter, I wish I had written. There are those songs that you're like, oh my gosh, this is genius songwriting. I can never do this. That's basically also this playlist. So I'm just going to read off a few. The Long and Winding Road. I mean, come on. Benny and the Jets. Like, that song is just, like, instant tingles. Your Song, Elton John. Lately, Stevie Wonder. Just heartbreaking. You and I, Stevie Wonder. The ultimate love song. All is Fair. All in Love is Fair. Also, just stunning record. A few more Beatles ones I have. Something. And I Love Her. Do you want to know a secret? There's something about that song that speaks to me. I freaking love it. When I'm 64. Few Beach Boys tunes. God Only Knows. Don't Worry Baby. Like, God Only Knows. The harmonics in that song. Are you kidding me, dude? Are you kidding me? He ate with that for sure. I have a bunch of mixed stuff in here. I have some Rye records. Open by Rye. That song is insane. Sweet Emotion by Aerosmith. There's nothing that compares to that feeling. It's a summer day. Red Red Wine by UB40. Let's see what else we got. Oh, Cryogeyser Hive. M put me onto that song. Insane. I think she also put me on to I Need a Forest Fire by James Blake. I mean, James Blake is another one. I don't know that I've really done massive deep dives and obsessions over James Blake's discography. That is something I've yet to do, but I think I will at some point. The last, like, through the pandemic, I was in like a PJ Morton phase. I was listening to a lot of like gospel, especially the gospel according to PJ Morton, like Don't Let Go was just like, dude. Mamas and the Papas, Dedicated to the One I Love, like just records that you're like sonically, this is so satisfying to the human ear. Just like, just amazing. I haven't added as much to this playlist as I thought. But those are just like, to name a few, that's some of the stuff that I have on there. Some songs that just give me goosebumps, girl. They give me the goose pimples. Let's see what else. I do have a playlist that I'm also still in the process of making called A+ Vocals. That is just like songs that are so fun to sing and satisfying to sing. And some of them are like slightly challenging, but like not enough that like I can't sing them, but enough for me to be like, ooh, like this is so like, as a singer, it's like nerdy, We have some Stevie lately. First Began, PJ Morton. What else do we have? De Mi Nombre by Rosalia. Woo, Remy Wolf. Open Your Eyes, Bobby Caldwell. Also, Rosalia, Ningún Hombre. I mean, that song. It's like heartbreaking, earth-shattering, like emotional song. It's like one of my favorite records by Rosalia, like by far. It's insane. And the harmonies and everything, the vocal processing is just like, it's so satisfying. I can't get enough. Let's see what else. Love by Keisha Cole. Oh my God, that song is so fun to sing. Circles by Mariah Carey. Honestly, the whole Emancipation of Mimi. Mine Again. What else is on there? Shake It Off. Oh my God, Mariah Carey. That album is just like iconic. Got some Katy Perry in there too. When I was in middle school, my friend Rocky was also super into Katy Perry. That was like one of her faves at that age. And so by default, like I was consuming a lot of Katy Perry with her, and I love her too. We have some Hiatus Coyote, some Snarky Puppy, specifically something featuring Layla Hathaway. I mean, I don't need to say anything more. If y'all have not seen or heard that, do yourselves a favor. I don't know what you're doing. But yeah, Choose Your Weapon, Hiatus Cody. That album is just like, that was also kind of a formative album for me in high school. Insane. I was in my like experimental jazz era. Ella Fitzgerald, I eat up Ella Fitzgerald's because her voice is so like rich and deep. And I love it. I love it so much. We got some Sly and the Family Stone, If You Want Me to Stay. What else? Oh, Fleetwood Mac. That's another one too. Like in middle school and high school, very informative. Fleetwood Mac, like Songbird, so beautiful. Wolfpack, that was like my college era, like high school and college. A little more like weird jazzy pop stuff. What else do we have? Some Prince, Omar Apollo, Killing Me. That record is like killing me. It's killing me. I adore it. Cammie got me in my country girl era. We got some Maren Morris, Casey Musgraves in here. I love Golden Hour. That album's insane. The Maren Morris Girl album. What else do we have here? Oh, obviously we have to appreciate and acknowledge the greats as far as like female songwriters, Joni Mitchell, Carole King. I even have some Linda Ronstadt in here. But like, yeah, A Case of You, that song will never get old. Ever, 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 ever. Carole King, Will You Love Me Tomorrow? I mean, talk about earth-shattering, dude. That record's insane. I performed, in high school, I performed Ooh Baby Baby by Linda Ronstadt. I love that record so much. Desperado is also so good. Oh, the Eagles. Oh my gosh, I saw the Eagles recently. They sounded insane. They sounded so good live. Like they still have it 100%. I don't know if they have any tours left or what, or shows left in their tour, but if you can get the chance to see them, it was like, that show was life-changing. Oh, I have City and Color in here as much as I ever could. City and Color. We have some Daniel Caesar, Superposition, the song with John Mayer. I'm just going to share this playlist because I could go on and on and on and on. I guess to wrap up the episode, I'll kind of discuss the current era that I'm in with music and songs and people that I've been like rotating a lot recently. I already prefaced that I've been listening to a lot of Ray Charles and a lot of Motown. I have a whole playlist on Apple Music that's called Old Soul that just has everything from Motown, R&B to kind of like disco era pop kind of stuff too. So it is a wide range of just like music that touches my soul. And my friend Cammie and I, she inspired me because she made this playlist that was like Sunday vibes, or like Sunday music, like vibes, Sunday morning vibes or something. And it's like songs that like on your day off, you don't have much to do. You're just relaxing. Maybe you're cooking or cleaning around the house. You're just kind of doing little things here and there. There's no stress. All is good in the world. You know, you have a week ahead of you. You've had a nice fun weekend and you're just like vibing and chilling at home and listening to tunes, blasting tunes in your house. A lot of what I associate with that feeling is like old Motown. I just love like old school music like that. It just feeds my soul in a way that I can't even describe. Also like Marvin Gaye, Otis Redding, Donny Hathaway, Smokey Robinson. I think that's another person that I've been like diving more into recently, because obviously it's Smokey Robinson. Like I know the hits and I know the stuff that he's been involved in, but like his own records, like diving more into. Isley Brothers. What else? Nancy Sinatra. That's a random one that's in there too. I love it. These boots are made for walking. Bobby Caldwell, Roberta Flack, the Supremes. I mean, the list just goes on and on, like I said. But I'm also kind of been into Sade recently. I've been like, I haven't really ever listened to her stuff until very recently. So I'm trying to go through her whole discography and I freaking love it. I think just like oldies in general, like a lot of like Frank Sinatra era, that like era of jazz. It just is like feel good music, in my opinion. I can't get enough of it. And just like old love songs. There's something so like pure and tender about like love songs pre 1980. Not that there's anything wrong with love songs after 1980. Maybe that's my hot toddy take of the week, is that I'm not really a huge fan of 80s music. Like in general, I think it's corny, and I can't really vibe with it. Maybe other than like Whitney Houston, you know, like that's like that pop I can kind of get down with, but a lot of 80s music isn't just like in my wheelhouse. It's just not what I'm like a huge fan of. So that I wasn't going to have a hot toddy take of the week, but maybe that's it. And yeah, I don't know. I've just been thirsting for a lot of classic artists that I feel like I know their hits, but I don't know their deep cuts. So I'm trying to diversify my knowledge of like these iconic musicians as a whole, so I can get a better understanding of how they made an impact in the music industry. Because, you know, their hits stand the test of time. I just organically discovered hits by a lot of these people just from whatever movie, you know, film, TV. I'd have to learn it for school. Like it could have been a host of any things, any reason. But the songs that, you know, were paired with those hits on the rest of the album, it's like, what did that album encompass? So unless those songs were from like some of the top albums of all time, then maybe I didn't really touch on them deep enough. So that's kind of what I've been trying to like go for overall with like my music consumption recently, along with trying to find new music that's like modern, that's like new artists are making, young artists. So it's fun though. It's like I never get sick of it. I'm always learning and like getting inspired by new people. And I just love it so much. So yeah, I'm going to wrap up the episode, you guys. That was like short and sweet. I just wanted to like talk about musicians and music and people that I'm super into. If anyone has like recommendations of like maybe their top favorite artists or songwriters or even like just albums, if I didn't touch on any of the artists or people, then please let me know. Oh, as far as like other oldies, I'm also super into old country music. Like that is also something that I've been like heavily into in the last like year or so, like old school stuff, like Hank Williams and stuff, more so than modern country. Anyway, end of tangent. But yeah, if anyone has recommendations of like people I should listen to that will like blow my mind and just change my worldview and rewire my brain, then let me know. I would love to listen to new music and recs that y'all have. But yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful weekend and a great week. And I will see you next week. Bye.